I'm Ken Steele, back in the lab to analyze higher education brand chemistry. You might think Niagara College's 15-year-old brand identity is already as distinctive, modern, and legible as can be. But you'd be wrong. This week, they're launching a refreshed new brand that even better conveys the NC experience. Join me for a quick look behind the scenes with two people responsible for bringing the NC brand to life. Today I'm sitting down with Dorita Pentesco, the Senior Director of Marketing and Student Recruitment at Niagara College, and with Carmen Serravalle, the VP Creative at STC Storytellers, to talk with them about institutional branding in post-secondary and specifically about a new refresh of the Niagara College brand. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
For starters, Dorita, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about Niagara College.
We have two campuses that are located in the Niagara region, one in Welland, Ontario, and one in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And we have an enrollment of just over 10,000 students. Our Welland campus has programs in media, technology, trades, health, community services, and general arts. And then our Niagara-on-the-Lake campus has programs in business, general arts, hospitality, environment and horticulture, culinary, winemaking, beer brewing, and spirits distilling. We have wetlands on campus, a greenhouse, a restaurant, a brewery, a distillery, and a winery. We also have a working vineyard on campus, and they have associated learning enterprises where student-made products are made available to the public. And in Welland, we also have a hair salon, a dental clinic, and massage therapy clinic that are offering services to the public. We also have a robust research and innovation division that is supporting development of small and medium-sized businesses. And we've been ranked now as the #1 research college in Canada. We have active international activities with global campuses and partnerships around the world. Really, we have a family of brands at Niagara College and a wide range of stories to tell.
How I remember Niagara College's brand, showing my age, back before its last rebrand, which I think was in 2009, where Niagara College had a previous identity that looked very much like something from IBM out of the 60s almost. It's probably much newer than that, but it clearly conveyed the idea of international scope, I guess, by saying Niagara College Canada with this sort of globe. Am I right in assuming that's a globe?
Yeah, and good memory and good record keeping. That is the brand as it looked just prior to 2009. And I had joined the college around that time. And what was explained to me is that the center, the logo actually was to represent the Niagara Falls.
Okay. I guess if I step back and think about it, I could see how that could be the falls. All right. Around 2009, that visual identity transformed into the kind of shocking at the time, the bright blue button.
The first logo that you showed had been in use probably for more than 20 years, probably since the 1970s, 80s, and it needed updating significantly. We needed to bring it all together and align it more clearly. So that was the major exercise in 2009. And then that new logo was created. It was actually created by STC. And so we were excited to work with STC again with this latest refresh.
I was really struck by how nicely the round logo stood out on top of the sort of a water tower. It's a vertical standard, I guess, on your campuses, on the side of buildings, and it also really lent itself to unique applications like the butt end of a beer keg.
The previous logo was round, and so they gave us an update, but yet they gave us a shape that we didn't have to reconfigure in all of its signage and uses on campus. It wasn't a difficult shift. As significant as it was, people were drawn to it immediately, and it was incredible. People who've been at the college a long time commented on how quickly everybody wanted to wear branded clothing, which they hadn't been as enthusiastic about it before. So it seemed to create a whole new spirit around the organization and the brand. There is a lot of affinity and with the NC button. People really like it. They like to wear it. They like to show it. And they stress to us over and over again, please don't change the NC button in a significant way. We really like it. It's part of our identity.
We learned that there was a lot of love for the button and the blue. It's literally everywhere, and Niagara College is just imbued with that brand. So we had to somehow respect the button and as well as the blue.
Well, the previous logo that was developed in 2009 did serve us very well, very well. As you can see, it's lasted, for more than 15 years.
When the previous logo was developed, it was different rules of engagement. So now that we're very conscious of accessibility and how, for example, screen readers interact with the logo, there were actual structural adjustments that had to be made to the word mark itself to allow for that. We removed the ligature, which means the connection between the word college and Niagara in the L. Niagara College was now very clearly established as a global college, and while at the time of the previous rebrand, it was very important to include the word Canada. Now that we were established more as a global college, we were having discussions whether we still needed the word Canada as part of the word mark or we could remove it.
Canada will still be used as part of the logo, and we will be using it in a slightly different or revised format internationally where we feel that we do need it. People around the world know about Niagara Falls, and so they see that in our name and they understand generally where our location is.
Through our engagements, we also learned that there was a general feeling that the logo was too corporate, so it needed to have a more welcoming feel. Overall, gave the word mark Niagara College rounded corners to really bring out a more warm and welcoming overarching impression when people look at the word, so it just feels more kind of friendly and welcoming. We've also updated the I on Niagara. This is a very small detail, but it was a square dot on the I. We've now updated it to be round to reflect our button. We've gone almost into every letter and customized it. The previous word mark was justified. We've now made it flush left, so it doesn't feel forced when you're kind of stretching out the word college. It has a much more of a natural flow now when you stack the two words one above the other. The button is actually slightly a little bit increased, and even the monogram inside the button is slightly increased, just to give it more oomph and help it a little bit with legibility when we're talking about it in extremely small applications, for example, favicons in a digital space.
It's not a rebrand, it's a refreshing of the brand to reflect who we are today.
Yeah, I think the casual observer isn't going to notice that you've changed anything in all likelihood.
Ken, you're totally right. People might not notice immediately that there was a brand refresh as it relates to the logo. But when they look at the logo now, they may have a slightly different feeling looking at it. It just has taken, I'm going to call it, the edges off it. It's a lot softer. It's a lot more welcoming. It's a lot more approachable. They may not be able to point out exactly what it is that changed, but just the impression of it will be very different now.
You've also introduced some new colors to the brand palette, right?
The previous color palette was actually quite limited to a couple of blues and gray and black.
We were pretty strict about blue. Everything was blue, and people are like, that's great, but can we use something else?
We know that the Niagara region is integral to Niagara College, and Niagara has its roots there. So we embedded that sense of place into the color palette. We added some greens that are reminiscent of the greens of vineyards and the orchards and just nature in general of Niagara region, as well as leaning heavily into multiple blues that are reflected in the waters of the Great Lakes.
And at Niagara College, often you will hear people say, we bleed blue. And so it's a core part of our identity.
I think what's most striking about this brand refresh are the colorful little circles or bubbles.
We always look for ways on how we can make a brand more unique and more authentic to the place. So we've developed, in this case, a set of hand-drawn circles, and they are basically part of our brand universe. They infuse our materials with even more of a welcoming and approachable vibe, just by their nature of being hand-drawn. They're a reflection of the logo, but instead of the kind of static, this is the perfect circle, they're a little bit more loose, and they have this kind of handcrafted vibe. The overlapping circles are how they're kind of like working together side by side. Sometimes they're interacting, sometimes they're not, but that kind of showcases also how the college is very much entrenched in the community and the deep community connections that are in place.
you could think about in the Indigenous culture, the medicine wheel and the circle, in that. And our Indigenous education team was very, very excited and felt that they saw themselves within the rebrand.
We're throwing a really subtle reference to the hands-on experience that people will have when they attend Niagara College.
Again, just looking at that bunch of circles above Dorita's head, I'm left thinking of a cluster of grapes just sitting there. And I don't know if that's deliberate or if that's just me.
Yes, it is. It actually, again, it gives us many elements to work with. And we're very much using it also as an accent.
They're great on things like scarves or background patterns for different things.
The brand refresh also introduces a tagline of sorts, almost a hashtag.
NC Life is our tag. It really captures the unique experience and the diversity at Niagara College. That's NC Life. We can show it on a very active photo of students collaborating or out in the field or experiencing something.
Sometimes, we talk about it being almost like a punctuation mark.
One thing that clearly rose to the top during our engagement sessions, everybody was like, oh my God, you got to feel the energy. It's like when you come here, you can feel it. There's just like a totally different feeling once you're here on campus.
And you've also introduced a new typeface, right?
We've chosen Work Sans as the new corporate font for Niagara College because it provides a very clear distinction to the actual logo. It looks very different. It has a much more broad, confident, hefty appearance, which right away infuses the Niagara College materials with much more heft and confidence as well.
Got a nice little rolly. There's a way in which those L's would create a Niagara Falls.
A waterfall?
Yeah, just a little bit. Mm-hmm. You've developed a set of brand attributes too.
It always became a checklist for us when developing the brand. Is it welcoming? Check. Does it feel caring? Check. Is it innovative and trailblazing? Check. Global and diverse. So we literally went through all the different attributes and made sure that in some way, shape, or form that they make an appearance within the brand.
I just want to emphasize what a great partner STC has been. We're so pleased with the work that we've been able to do with them and what they've provided us with such a solid platform to now move forward with.
I think we've hit on something pretty special that really gives the viewer, the reader, a taste of what Niagara College is all about.
Thank you both very much for your time today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thanks, Dorita.
Members of Eduvation's Marcom Circles can reach out to Dorita and Carmen anytime using Circles Chat and have access to this and other branding case studies. If you're not yet a member of this dynamic virtual community, check out the many perks at eduvation.ca/CMO or sign up for a 3-month free trial at circles.eduvation.ca. See the links in the video description. Members of the Marcom Circle participate in at least 4 quarterly Zoom sessions, ongoing year-round chat, polls and news feeds, and have access to exclusive collections of higher ed video critiques, brand campaign cases, Marcom org charts, and more. Come join us and get engaged.